Hello, welcome to Andertons TV. My name is Jack. He's the Maltese Falcon. Woo. He's Andy. Woo. He's Max. Hello. They're from Roland, and guess why? Feast your eyes upon the Fantom. Brand new from Roland, flagship keyboard. It's a workstation, a synthesizer, an analog synthesizer. In part, it can be the centerpiece of your studio or your live setup. There's a lot to get through, so just to warn you, in this video we're going to be talking a lot about the features, one after the other. If you don't like the sound of my voice or that sounds horrible to you, we've got you covered. We've got other videos. We've had an amazing artist in called Berenice. We're going to convince some of the guys out there to play the keyboard. Look out for that video. But in this, first of all, let's dive in, look at this new front panel and rear panel. Let's dive into it, okay? Front panel. Very exciting. Middle of it, and why it's exciting, this brand new touchscreen. That excites me. iPad style resolution and response, I can show you that because also everything's really accessible here. So for example, on the parameter button here with the filter, I can touch that, touch the filter, and look at that. I can just draw in, we can even hear it probably. And what you're hearing there is that there's no effects on this patch, right, Max? Yeah, no effects. That's just the release and a little hint of the depth of the sound. But go check our other videos out for the sound. With the layout here as well, you can see we've got these multicolored LED backlights. Also with the knobs, you might have been used to them, the synthesizer you got at home, they've got 127 steps of resolution, like classic old school MIDI. This has got 1,024 steps in there. And you'll hear that as no steps. So it'll be really seamless for you. Even these knobs over here are called adaptive knobs. So you can see on the screen, if I'm slow, it's there with me. It's guiding me for my fine adjustments. If I want to put a big dollop on, it knows it and it jumps right there. So almost like AI knobs, really cool. The other thing is, it's made out of aluminium. If you're an old Fantom user or the other, you'll realize they were built like tanks. This is still built like a tank, but not quite as heavy. So just as dangerous, not quite as heavy. We've got silk screening on the top, which is really handy because there's a lot of connectivity. We'll get to that in a minute. As you see over here, we've got access to the 16 zones. Each zone can be made up of, you think of those like 16 sounds. Each one of those sounds can have 4 partials. And what I like, the pads over here, let alone for when we get into the sequencer where we'll be triggering things, is really handy for accessing and editing those things. We'll show that in a second. I love this as well. I had a little quick demo of the sequencer. You might know this from the IO range or some of the TR 808 models. Seems to be a coming together of the technologies, and a really big thing, if you're a workstation user, you always knew that you'd be in like combi mode or sequencer. None of that anymore. They put it all together and you just have to think of it as an instrument. So I like that. Let's dive into the back. We've got a silk screen, but I think the Falcon might follow me around the back right now. Let's fly. Right, we're around the rear of the new Fantom. I'm very excited. I'm always excited around a nice rear, and this is one of the nicest I've seen in a long time. Let's start from the right. You either be looking at this or some sweepovers. We've got awesome balanced left and right XLR outputs. Well, in total, we've got 8 outputs here. But that's really handy on stage. We've got sub out, so you could, if you had a multi-timbre patch and your sound guy was getting funny about it, you can send them all out of different outputs, analog filter out, and then we've got these loads of USB connectivity here. What's nice, you could update it from a stick. If you are renting one or you go around your mate's house, you can save all your stuff on the stick. Berenice did that, right? She brought the stick in. And this computer, to hook up the computer, it's a pretty hefty audio interface in there. Actually, all of the conversion is a new height for a keyboard. Check out the specs and it'll come out. It's really something to behold. You hear that in the patches, but what's handy is if you're a computer musician and you're running main stage or something like that, this has 32 outputs, so 16 pairs. So just like the internal sounds, you can send them out to outputs. You can send all your main stage patches out, like organ on one channel, piano on the other, and the sound guy's got control. It's also got 6 stereo pairs, 6 inputs in, 3 stereo pairs in to it, so you could get audio in from other devices. And on this external device, it's got so much power, like 50-watt power supply. I can't believe I'm remembering this stuff. God, got an early night last night for this. Yeah, we got a 50-watt power supply, and that means these can drive class-compliant devices. So for me, I was really excited. I've got an OP1. I have to have a separate box for that, or like a Roland board, things that can all hook in the back. Still with me? Good. Right, we've got 2 XLRs in there. It's got a vocoder in it, which is cool, and you could also sample in of those. Note of mention, CV, in and out gate, amazing. When you see what the sequencer does, it'll blow your mind, maybe, with what I put in it. Standard MIDI, also, I may have touched on it, it's that sturdiness, but notice it's not an absolute heifer. It's not a burden anymore. Anyway, I'm excited. Let's get back around the front, and where should we go next? Where do you think next? We'll start on the right-hand side of the keyboard. Let's do it. Let's start where I always like to start. It's a simple place for me, simple place for my simple mind. Like the core bit of a sound, the oscillator. And I'm going to talk about this in terms of this being a synth, a virtual analog synth, starting with the oscillators. So we've got an initial patch here, you can hear it. Very exciting. What's really good as well, these squares aren't just redundant for the drum pads you'll never use them for. They're really handy for the core programming. So 1 oscillator, 2 oscillators, and then the green layer underneath will choose, when you're editing filters, you could just maybe have it affect the first oscillator or altogether. Really, I like that. That's really good, because that was always a problem with me, with all these zones and stacks of sounds, choosing which ones you're affecting and doing global parameter changes was tough for. Anyway, let's see it. So I've got an initial patch, there it is again. If I hit parameter, it comes up with the types of oscillator. And I can just change the type there. So we can have a flick through. We've got PCM, virtual analog, super saw, classic, Roland in there. And the value, like what type, we've got everything under the sun. Also, you don't have to use that. You can use the touchscreen if you want, but it's nice that this is up there. I didn't dive in the menu, it's right there. Let's hear what we had that on. I'll kick that little patch off again. So we've got that 1 oscillator, and let's go to the filters, because when it's in blue like this is a virtual analog filter, right? Again, I hit parameter, which I've just sat down with it. There might be a better way to do it, but it seems very intuitive to hit parameter. And you can see all the types we've got. And just to show the resolution, you can see that cutoff resolution. I'm tapping it very lightly, and you can see the values changing. It's super high resolution. Let's sweep that. And what's nice is, if you want to get creative with it, sound designers will love this. I love how genuinely responsive the screen is for creating resonant peaks and basically, yeah, custom fingerprint filters. You can have your own, like, selling like fingerprint filters. It does have an analog filter in there, and just to show you that in here, it flicks to red. So when we we're now using the analog filter, you have to assign it in there. You can assign it to all your parts. If you run sequences, run audio through it. It's great. It's multi-mode analog filter. Got the classic Jupiter low 4-pole filter in there and some other ones. That's great. Also, to show off maybe the first patch in here, this Fantom Overture, might show you off the kind of resolution of ZenCore. And running ZenCore are Roland's own proprietary processors. Look, keep an eye out in the future. It's got so much headroom in there, and they've got so much power that they're going to be releasing lots more content. It seems like a platform that, you know, this is not even touching the walls yet. They've got loads more to come out. Let's hear this. There's no reverb or effects on this patch, okay? And to prove there's no reverb, I'm going to dial back the release on it, and you can hear that, okay? Oh, sorry. This is why it's so good. I have to make sure, and I proved my point perfectly there, that that wasn't affecting all the oscillators. So if I want that to affect every component of the sound, I've got to make sure the green ones are on. So let's do it. So super set, but then listen to how it decays when I whack it right back up. Oh, we got the aftertouch in there. Yeah, I like it. So that's a little bit of how you get around. Hopefully you're getting it. Also, go check out Roland's website. I'm sure they'll have more on there. We're on to the effects section. I love effects. I'd love to know a bit more about them. So stay tuned. Next to the envelope, we have the effects. I can just, I've got, just to touch on another technology. We're in the oscillator section. You saw the VA stuff and the PCM that's in there. We've also got the piano technology. Now, I used to work in the shop many moons ago, and I remember what a big deal V piano is, and it hasn't really come up again in the Roland universe. It's kind of been thrown in with other things, but this is full V piano. So any guys who know how good that is and what a big deal V piano is, it's in here. So I'll just play a little bit. So there's a piano. If I want to affect it, hey, guess what? No diving up in here. They don't like diving. Certainly don't like diving. No, we're just going to turn the knob and let's find something that will go with a piano. I reckon a little bit of, oh God, we've got loads of effects. These seem like all the boss ones, like slicer, VK rotary. Let's go for a multi-tap delay and hear what that sounds like. Hey. So we've got bucket loads in there. Go try it for yourself. Again, come into the store. We're going to have this here. Also, the reverb that you can hear on there. Let's turn that delay off. Off, there we go. Cool. Reverb is over here in the master effects. We've got reverbs in there. On this piano patch, to touch as well on, we've got 2 wheels and my favourite pitch bend lever of all time. You know, I'm looking at the choir here and they're all nodding. No one does it better than Roland for shredding. We might get some of that in the playthrough, but I'll sneak in a bit of something. That's great fun. We've got effects. Where should we go next, guys? Where do you think? Maltese Falcon.
Sequencer?
Sequencer. Good thinking, brother. Right below. Let's do it. Sequencer. You don't have to hit a sequencer button. You don't have to dive into anything. It's kind of there. And I repeat that again because workstations of old, it was always what mode you're in. And the amount of times I ballsed everything up being in the wrong mode. No stress. Let's see if I can get through this. I'm notoriously bad with sequencers, but Max has like shown me quickly how, and I'll see if I make some music with the guidance of the Falcon. Right, we've got a patch here. I mean, all the patches seem to be pretty banging in the Fantom, to be honest. So that's cool, but a bit, maybe I want a groove to go over. In 8 here, in zone 8, I've got some drum sounds. Cool, and these buttons, you may have seen them from the TR series or the Iris series. It's really cool. If I hit TR record and then hit play, it's running, and I can just put steps in. Let's choose the kick and put those in. Okay, that's cool. So we've got that pattern going, and then I find let's put some hats in, and then whoa, find a snare. I'll roll with that. Now I want to play over that, so I come out of TR record mode, and I think if I just hit record, oh, this is cool, and it's going to wait for me. It says wait note. It's going to wait for me to play something. Let's give it a go. Wicked, I want to put some bass in. So I just go to, are these called zones? Zones, so I just go to a second zone here, and what's nice, it seems to be like someone with a really, well, I like their ear. Whoever made these sounds, I like their ear. And they're thinking. Of course I want drums over there. They're a different world. Got a nice polyphonic patch, bass right next to it. Anyway, stop blabbering, Jack, record. It'll start when I start. Well, I wouldn't mind doing that every day if it was. I'll go through. So, and I haven't gone out of a different mode. I can just go back. I'm not lost in there. That's the first time I think, Maltese Falcon, when you say I've ever successfully operated a sequencer.
Sounds about right.
That's about it, yeah. Where should we go next? Let's talk a little bit about the left-hand side of the keyboard. And let's go to the left.
Left side, strong side.
Left side, strong side. If you've watched some obscure American football film, you'll know what I'm talking about. We are showing off the left-hand side of the keyboard. It's a big deal because of the power of this beast. Everything starts adding up and you need to control that power. They've sorted it out. We've got a multi-zone patch, like multi-timbral patch here. Let's hear it. Key, please.
F.
Yeah. There's 4 parts going on there. I can turn them on and off, edit them. It's all easy to see there, adjust the balance. What's great is, well, if I hold Shift and tap it, it turns green. That means that I would be controlling an external zone. So your patches can be made off the main stage dudes out there, or whatever you're using. Really super simple. I first saw that, I think, in your RD2000. I love the implementation of that. It's been included in here. That's cool. In this sound, there's a lot going on, right? If that's not enough for you and you've got less clammy fingers than me, you hit motional pad, the emotional pad, and you can F with it with your finger. So let's give it a go. Hearing that. Also, you've got automation! Dig it. All of that's going on. You can hear the afters on all the patches. One thing of mention here, we've got 16 zones running I'm getting a feeling of the horsepower that's underneath here. BMC, behavioural modelling chips in there. They've got 4 of them, like 4 computers in there, powering these 16 zones. And when I'm going to show, and I'm just going to haphazardly, like maybe you would in the shop, flick through some patches and jump back in. This has the bad boy patch remain out there. Like no one is messing with this. All 16 voices will just not cut out, will run to a new world. Let's see if I can prove it, okay? Key, please.
D.
D. No, I mean, not to say that I can do anything good in D, but I'll give D a go. Love the aftertouch on it. Woo! I was running there. I love the aftertouch on that keyboard. SK4, it's a brand new synth keyboard. You know that I'm a bit finicky about my synth keyboards. I always dream that they reissue the DX7 keyboard. This is getting pretty close to it. Yeah, it feels really nice, man. If I didn't say in the 88 key, you got the PHA 50. We've got 61, 76, 88 key. There, I'm really hamming it up and it's not cutting out. It may sound pretty mental, but that's so lovely for guys, real power users, or just, even if you're doing takes to really morph through things. Oh, awesome. I think we're about ready to conclude this, Maltese Falcon. Should we do it? Let's conclude. First things first, this is out today. We may have shot this in the past, but today, you can buy this or come to the shop and try this. It's a whole new world. And I've had about an hour with it, going through the bits. Zencore seems to be, I heard about the amount of time, I think a couple of years went into just the development of the sound engine, and it's going to take a bit of time for people's ears to get used to it, get used to the possibilities of it. But what's nice is the interface of the Fantom with this new Zencore is making it as easy as it probably could be, because I think that in the future it'll develop as a platform. It doesn't really need to develop any further than this. I like to play or escape my videos with a demo button. Sadly, there's no demo button. I mean, and it's a deal break, no. I wish Nord, but it tends to be the best instruments don't have demo buttons. So I've got a patch here that I'm going to play us out the video. If you like what we're doing, consider subscribing. If you don't, let us know. If I've waffled on loads, hopefully I warned you at the beginning, but if you want to hear more of it, go watch our other videos, go onto the Roland website, come try it for yourself. This is going to be an escape song in the key of C minor. Oh, by the way, you can dim the lights and it only takes 40 seconds to turn on. F you, Kronos.